All right, for this session, we're going to talk a little bit about a different type of EQ, something called a linear phase EQ. And when you're going to launch this, you're going to basically go up to your inserts. In this case, I'm going to select EQ, linear phase EQ stereo. I'll launch it. I'll put these side by side, and you're going to notice something right away, that these EQs are similar. In fact, if the only thing that differentiates them is that you have channel EQ and linear phase EQ in the title. Now, why do you use linear phase EQ? Sometimes with your channel EQs, you're going to hear some phase distortion. When you hear the phase distortion, you're going to realize that you've introduced some noise, because, like I said, the channel EQ tends to add a bit of noise. And when you hear that there's a bit of noise that you can't live with, or too much because you've done a pretty beefy boost. In this case, you can see that I've done a pretty beefy boost on this guitar track. Then you're going to want to switch to the linear phase EQ, because that will get rid of the phase distortion. Now, the downside of linear phase EQ is that it takes up a lot of processing power. So while it's okay to use, you got to make sure you have enough RAM, and also, you're not going to want to play your piano or guitar through the linear phase EQ, because Logic will inevitably not be able to keep up. So because these two look identical, the cool thing about this is you can actually take your settings from your channel EQ and just paste them right into your linear phase EQ. So what I'm going to do is just hit copy up here, then I'm going to hit paste, and boom, there's my linear phase EQ. So I bypass this one. Now I'm hearing, and there won't be any phase distortion when I use this. Okay. So I can bypass this one. You probably can't hear the distortion on my this channel or computer, because it's coming through the speakers. So once I've done this, I want to keep my linear phase. So I'm going to close this out, and then for my EQ setting up here, channel EQ, I'm going to go no plug-in, because I want to get rid of it. So now it's going directly just through my linear phase EQ. And remember, only use this if you hear some phase distortion, because it does use more processing power. But linear phase EQ will get rid of that phase distortion.